The strange ship appeared in the sky above New York City on a clear Tuesday morning. It was smooth and silver, shaped like a teardrop, and it hovered silently over Central Park. People stopped and stared. Cars pulled over. Everyone took out their phones to record the moment that would change human history forever. Within an hour, the military had surrounded the area. Soldiers kept curious crowds back, while scientists and government officials waited nervously. President Carol Bennett was flying in from Washington. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. At exactly noon, a door opened in the side of the ship. A ramp extended down to touch the grass. The crowd went silent. Even the birds seemed to stop singing. The being that emerged was not what anyone expected. It walked on two legs but was shorter than the average human. Its skin was pale blue and seemed to shimmer slightly. Large, dark eyes dominated a narrow face, and it had no visible nose or ears. Most striking was the suit it wore, a clear, bubble-like helmet connected to a tight-fitting body hovering that pulsed with soft lights. Frank Miller, the lead U.S. diplomat chosen for this moment, took a deep breath and stepped forward. His heart pounded, but his training kept his voice steady. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you to our world," he said. The alien's helmet emitted a soft whirring sound, and then words came through in clear English. "I am Zexthar, ambassador of the Galactic Council. I bring greetings from the 217 intelligent species who form our union of planets." The crowd behind the barriers broke into cheers and applause. Zexthar flinched at the noise, his large eyes blinking rapidly. Frank noticed how the alien's thin limbs trembled slightly. Was it nervous? Excited? Sick? "Are you comfortable, Ambassador? Do you need anything?" Frank asked. "This environmental suit allows me to survive here, but it is difficult," Zexthar replied. "Your gravity is much stronger than I am accustomed to. The radiation from your sun is intense, and your atmosphere." The alien made a gesture that might have been a shudder. "So much oxygen. So reactive. How do you not burn from the inside?" Frank wasn't sure how to respond to that. "This is just normal for us," he said simply. Over the next few hours, as President Bennett arrived and formal introductions were made, Frank couldn't help noticing how carefully Zexthar moved. The alien checked the readings on his suit constantly. When a cloud briefly passed over the sun, the tension in the ambassador's shoulders visibly eased. That evening, at the United Nations, Zexthar addressed the hastily assembled representatives of Earth's nations. "The Galactic Council has observed your world for some time," the alien explained. "Your development of faster-than-light communication last year alerted us to your technological readiness. We wish to invite humanity to join our community of worlds." The room erupted in excited murmurs. However, Zexthar continued when the noise settled. "There are protocols. A delegation from Earth must present your case before the full council. We will provide transportation for your representatives." "When would this happen?" President Bennett asked. "Our ship can depart in 3 of your days. The journey will take approximately 2 weeks by your measurement of time." As the meeting continued, Susan Carter, the chief science advisor, leaned close to Frank. "Have you noticed how uncomfortable he seems just being here?" she whispered. Frank nodded. "Like he's visiting somewhere dangerous. But this is just normal Earth conditions," Susan said, frowning. "What does that tell us about the other worlds out there?" Frank watched as Zexthar carefully adjusted something on his suit again. The implications were starting to sink in. If this representative of advanced alien civilizations found Earth barely tolerable even with protective technology, what did that mean for humans in the wider galaxy? "I think," Frank replied quietly, "we might be the weird ones." As the meeting ended and plans were made for selecting Earth's first delegation to the stars, Frank couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was about to discover something important about its place in the universe, and it wasn't what anyone had expected. 2 weeks after first contact, the Earth delegation arrived at the massive space station that served as headquarters for the Galactic Council. Dr. Lisa Jones gazed out the viewport as their shuttle approached. The station was shaped like a giant wheel with spokes connecting to a central hub. Colorful lights decorated its surface, and hundreds of ships of different shapes and sizes moved around it. "It's beautiful," Lisa whispered. General Alan Wright, sitting beside her, merely grunted. He had been chosen to represent Earth's military interests, while Lisa led the scientific team. Frank Miller, who had first greeted Zexthar on Earth, completed their core diplomatic group. Their shuttle docked smoothly in one of the many bays. A hissing sound filled the cabin as the air pressure equalized. "Remember," Zexthar warned them, "the station maintains standard galactic conditions. Your bodies may find it challenging." As the door opened, the humans felt the difference immediately. The gravity was noticeably lighter, making them feel like they might float away with each step. The air was thinner too, and had a sweet smell that reminded Lisa of cinnamon. "This is standard?" Frank asked, already feeling slightly dizzy. "Yes," Zexthar replied. "Conditions that suit the majority of Council species." They were led through wide corridors, passing aliens of many shapes and sizes. Some walked on multiple legs, others floated in what looked like personal bubbles. All of them stopped to stare at the humans, murmuring to each other or making clicking sounds. The main council chamber was a vast room with rising tiers of seats surrounding a central speaker. News of the humans' natural ability spread quickly through the Galactic Council space station. The Earth delegation found themselves the center of attention wherever they went. Some aliens kept their distance, while others approached with curious questions. Dr. Susan Garcia was examining a display of alien plants in the station's botanical garden when she noticed someone watching her. The observer was tall and thin with pale green skin and 4 arms. Each hand had 3 long fingers. "Hello," Susan said with a friendly smile. "I'm Dr. Garcia from Earth." "I am Dr. Krell Vaughn," the alien replied, bowing slightly. "Chief biological researcher for the Council. May I join you?" Susan nodded, and Krell Vaughn moved closer, his large eyes studying her with obvious fascination. "Is it true that your bones contain calcium?" he asked. Susan laughed. "Yes, that's true. Don't yours?" "My skeletal structure is primarily based on carbon fiber compounds," Krell Vaughn explained. "Much lighter but less durable than your bones. It suits the gentler conditions most council species evolved in." As they walked through the gardens, Krell Vaughn asked dozens of questions about human biology. How humans regulated body temperature, how their skin protected against radiation, how their lungs processed oxygen. "Your species is truly remarkable," Krell Vaughn said. "Would you permit me to conduct some non-invasive studies? The scientific knowledge would be invaluable." Susan thought about it. "I would need to discuss it with our delegation leaders, but speaking personally, I'd be happy to collaborate." The next day, after getting approval, Susan found herself in Krell Vaughn's laboratory. Other scientists from various species joined them, all eager to learn about human physiology. They scanned Susan's body structure, analyzed her blood samples, and measured her strength and endurance. The aliens were particularly amazed by her immune system. "You have billions of microorganisms living inside you," one scientist asked in shock after seeing the test results. "Yes, our gut microbiome is essential to our health," Susan explained. "And you evolved on a planet teeming with bacteria and viruses," Krell Vaughn noted. "Your immune systems must constantly fight off potential infections." "That's normal for us," Susan said with a shrug. In another test, Susan easily lifted weights that would have strained Krell Vaughn's assistants. Her muscles, adapted to Earth's stronger gravity, gave her significant advantages in the station's lighter conditions. "Remarkable," Krell Vaughn said, reviewing the data. "A human child would have greater physical strength than many adult council species." Word of these findings reached the military representatives of various council races. General Wright was approached by several alien commanders who suddenly seemed very interested in human capabilities. "We would like to discuss potential security cooperation," said Commander Grell, a reptilian being with metallic scales. Meanwhile, Frank Miller noticed a change in how some council members treated the human delegation. Some showed new respect. Others seemed wary or even fearful. During a formal dinner, Frank overheard two delegates talking quietly. They evolved on a death world. One whispered, "Think what that means. Their entire history is shaped by surviving conditions we would find lethal. Perhaps we should reconsider their membership application." The other replied, "For security reasons." Frank shared these concerns with Susan and General Wright at night in their private quarters. "They're starting to see us as potential threats," Frank said. Wright nodded grimly. "Some military factions definitely are. But that's not fair," Susan protested. "We didn't ask to evolve on a high-gravity, radiation-soaked planet with extreme weather. It's just our home." "Fair doesn't matter," Wright replied. "Perception does. And right now, some council members are perceiving us as dangerous simply because we can survive where they can't." Susan thought about Krelvon and the genuine scientific curiosity he had shown. Not everyone sees us that way. Some are fascinated, not frightened. "Then we need to encourage that view," Frank said thoughtfully. "We need to show them that our adaptability isn't a threat. It's a potential benefit to the entire council." Outside their window, the stars shone against the blackness of space. Somewhere out there was Earth, the extreme planet that had shaped humanity into something the galaxy had never seen before. Captain John Baker was lost. The Galactic Council space station was enormous, and all the corridors looked the same to him. He had been trying to find his way back to the human quarters after exploring on his own, but had taken a wrong turn somewhere. As he rounded another corner, voices drifted from a room ahead. The door was partially open. John was about to enter and ask for directions when he heard the word humans. He paused, listening. "These humans represent an unprecedented situation," said a deep, rumbling voice. "They evolved on what we would classify as a death world. Their physical capabilities exceed those of most council races." John quietly moved closer to the door and peered inside. Around a large oval table sat military representatives from at least 6 different species. At the head of the table was a large, 4-armed being with dark red skin and ridges down its face. A nameplate identified him as Commander Drek of the Vorgan Empire. "The data from the science division is concerning," Drek continued. "Humans have twice the strength of Vorgans in standard gravity. Their bones are nearly unbreakable compared to Pelaxian standards. They can withstand radiation levels that would kill a Zinthard in minutes." A slender, blue-skinned alien spoke up. "Are you suggesting humans pose a threat to the Council?" "I am suggesting we must be cautious," Drek replied. "Humanity's history is filled with conflict. They developed nuclear weapons less than a century after discovering powered flight. What happens when we give them access to Council technology?" John's jaw tightened. This wasn't a friendly meeting. It was a threat assessment. "The Vorgan Empire proposes trade restrictions," Drek continued. "No sharing of advanced weapons technology. Limited access to Council worlds. Careful monitoring of all human activities." "Isn't that excessive?" asked another alien. "They've shown no hostility." "Yet," Drek said. "Remember the Crawl incident? We welcomed them to the Council, and within a decade, they had conquered 3 peaceful worlds." John backed away from the door. He needed to tell General Wright about this meeting immediately. As he turned to leave, he bumped into a cart of cleaning supplies. The resulting crash echoed down the corridor. The room went silent. Then Commander Drek appeared in the doorway, his 4 arms crossed over his chest. "It seems we have a visitor," he said coldly. "A human visitor." John straightened his back and faced Drek directly. "I got lost looking for my quarters. I apologize for interrupting your meeting." "And how much did you hear, human?" Drek asked. "Enough to know you're afraid of us," John replied honestly. "For no good reason." The other military officials had gathered behind Drek, their expressions ranging from embarrassment to anger. "This meeting wasn't official council business," said the blue alien quickly. "Just a discussion among colleagues. A discussion about restricting Earth before we've even joined the Council." John pointed out. That doesn't seem fair. Commander Drek's eyes narrowed. Fair? Let me tell you what isn't fair, human. Your species developed on a planet that would kill most of us within minutes without protective gear. You call that accident of evolution normal. The rest of us call it dangerous. John held Drek's gaze. We didn't choose how we evolved, but we do choose our actions. And right now, you're the ones talking about restrictions and monitoring, not us. Later that day, John reported everything to General Wright and Frank Miller. The human delegation was angry but not surprised. It was bound to happen, Frank said. Fear is a natural reaction to something unknown and powerful. So what do we do? Susan asked. She had joined them after finishing her latest research session with Dr. Krulvon. General Wright paced the room. We need to change how they see us. If they only focus on our physical strength, they'll always fear us. We need to show them our other qualities, Frank suggested. Our creativity, our adaptability, our willingness to help others. Susan's face brightened. I have an idea. What if we offered a demonstration? 2 days later, the main exhibition hall of the Galactic Council Station was filled with representatives from dozens of species. They had come to witness what was being called the Human Demonstration, organized by Dr. Lisa Jones. Thank you all for coming, Lisa said, standing on a raised platform. Her voice was calm, but her heart was racing. Everything depended on how well this presentation went. We understand that many of you have concerns about humans joining the council. Today, we hope to show you that our abilities can benefit everyone. The first demonstration involved gravity. The exhibition hall had been divided into sections with different gravity levels. In the Earth Normal section, several alien visitors tried to walk but struggled under the weight. Their legs trembled, and some needed help to stand. Lisa invited council members to watch as human athletes performed in different gravity zones. In lighter gravity, they could jump incredibly high and lift enormous weights, but Lisa made sure to emphasize something else. Notice how our people adjust to each new condition. She pointed out as a human runner adapted his stride to low gravity. Humans don't just have strength, we have adaptability. Next came the atmosphere test. Dr. Krulvon had helped set up chambers with different air mixtures. The aliens watched in amazement as human volunteers breathed comfortably in mixtures that varied widely from Earth normal. Our lungs can function across a broad range of conditions, Susan explained. Not just in one narrow band like many species. Captain Baker demonstrated human endurance by running continuously for an hour without stopping. For many council species, such sustained physical activity was impossible. Our bodies evolved to chase prey over long distances, Baker explained afterward, barely winded. We can keep moving long after many animals would collapse from exhaustion. But the most impressive demonstration came when Frank Miller invited volunteers from the audience to present problems for humans to solve. A group of engineers created a puzzle involving complex machinery. A diplomatic team presented a fictional conflict between planets. Medical specialists described a challenging disease outbreak. In each case, teams of humans worked together to find solutions, often approaching problems from angles the aliens hadn't considered. Humans don't just survive harsh conditions, Frank explained. Those conditions shaped our thinking. We evolved to find creative solutions because on Earth, failure often meant death. As the demonstrations continued, Lisa noticed Commander Drek watching from the back of the room. His expression was hard to read, but he hadn't left, which she took as a positive sign. Dr. Krulvon approached Lisa during a break. This was a brilliant idea, he said. You're showing them that human capabilities aren't just physical. That was the plan, Lisa replied. We needed to shift the conversation from fear to cooperation. Near the end of the day, an unexpected visitor arrived. High Chancellor Vexnor himself entered the exhibition hall, causing a stir among the attendees. The Chancellor moved from station to station, observing the human demonstrations with great interest. Finally, he approached Lisa. Dr. Jones, this has been most enlightening, he said. I must admit, when I first learned of human physiology, I had concerns, but seeing how your people use their abilities is reassuring. Lisa smiled. We come from a challenging world, Chancellor. But that challenge taught us to work together, to adapt, and to help each other. We want to bring those same values to the Galactic Council. The Chancellor nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps what we initially saw as a reason for concern is actually a valuable asset. As the day ended, the mood among the Council representatives had noticeably shifted. There were still some suspicious looks, especially from Commander Drek and his allies, but many more aliens were approaching the humans with questions and offers of cooperation. Frank found Lisa as the crowds were leaving. I think it worked, he said quietly. Not completely, but it's a start. Lisa nodded, watching as Susan engaged in animated conversation with scientists from 3 different worlds. A good start, she agreed. But I have a feeling our challenges are just beginning. The mood on the Galactic Council station had improved for the humans after their successful demonstration. More species were willing to talk with them, and several trade discussions had begun. Even Commander Drek seemed less openly hostile, though he still kept his distance. 1 month into their stay, everything changed. An emergency alarm blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Frank Miller was meeting with trade representatives when the alarm sounded. Everyone rushed to the main council chamber. High Chancellor Vex Nor stood at the center platform, his usually calm face showing clear worry. We have received distress calls from 3 outer colonies, the Chancellor announced once everyone had gathered. They are under attack by an unknown species. Images appeared in the air above him. Strange ships with sharp, angular designs were firing on peaceful settlements. Buildings burned. People ran in panic. The attackers have already destroyed 2 defense stations, Vex Nor continued. Our ships are struggling to engage them effectively. General Wright leaned close to Frank. This could be our chance to prove ourselves, he whispered. A new image appeared. This time it showed captured footage of the attackers themselves. They were tall, muscular beings with gray skin and 4 eyes. Their movements were quick and powerful. Dr. Krelvan rushed forward, datapad in hand. Chancellor, preliminary analysis suggests these attackers evolved on a high-gravity, high-radiation planet similar to Earth. A wave of murmurs swept through the chamber. All eyes turned to the human delegation. Do you know these beings? Commander Drek demanded. No, Frank replied firmly. We've never seen them before. The Chancellor raised his hands for quiet. They call themselves the Nexari. From the data we've gathered, their world has conditions remarkably close to Earth's. They possess physical capabilities similar to humans. More images showed Nexari soldiers easily overpowering Council security forces. Their strength and endurance matched what the humans had demonstrated weeks earlier. Our standard troops cannot match them physically, a military advisor reported. And our environmental suits slow us down too much to fight effectively. Susan Garcia studied the footage carefully. Their world must have shaped their evolution like Earth shaped ours, she said. No wonder they're so strong by Council standards. General Wright stepped forward. Chancellor, with your permission, I believe humans can help. We're naturally adapted to fight beings like these. Commander Drek snorted. And why would you help us fight your cousins? Frank Miller fixed Drek with a steady gaze. Because we chose to join the Galactic Council as partners. These Nexari, whatever their biology, are attacking innocent people. That makes them our enemies too. The council chamber fell silent as members considered this. Finally, Chancellor Vex Nor spoke. General Wright, what do you propose? A joint defense force, Wright replied. Human soldiers working alongside your best troops. We can teach your people how to fight in harsh conditions. We can share our military experience. And what would Earth want in return? Asked a suspicious council member. Full membership in the council, Frank answered. No restrictions or special monitoring. We want to be equal partners. Commander Drek stepped forward. Chancellor, this is exactly what I warned about. They're using this crisis to force their way into the council. Lisa Jones stood up. That's not true. We're offering to risk our lives to protect council worlds. All we ask is to be treated as equals if we succeed. The debate continued for hours. Some council members supported the human offer immediately. Others, led by Commander Drek, remained suspicious. In the end, Chancellor Vexnor made the decision. We accept your offer of assistance, he told the humans. A joint defense force will be formed immediately. As the meeting ended, Frank found himself standing next to Commander Drek. I still don't trust you, Drek said quietly. You don't have to trust us, Frank replied. Just watch what we do. That night, as the humans prepared for their new mission, Captain Baker voiced what many were thinking. It's strange, he said. A month ago, they feared us because we're too strong. Now they need us for exactly the same reason. General Wright nodded grimly. Let's just hope we are strong enough. The training center on Outpost Station hummed with activity. 2 weeks had passed since the Council approved the Joint Defense Force. Colonel Mary Wilson, an experienced Earth military officer, watched as human soldiers trained alongside aliens from 5 different species. Again, Mary called out, "Keep your movements tight and use your opponent's weight against them." The mixed group repeated the combat drill. Human instructors moved among them, adjusting stances and offering advice. In one corner, alien troops practiced wearing lighter versions of their environmental suits, designed by Dr. Susan Garcia and Dr. Krell Vaughn. The new suits allowed for greater mobility while still providing essential life support. Your people learned quickly, said Grell Thor, a tall, 4-armed tactical expert from the Zentari. He had been assigned as Mary's second-in-command. So do yours, Mary replied. They're braver than anyone expected, fighting outside their comfort zones. Grell Thor's face showed what Mary had learned was a smile. Necessity is a powerful teacher. Reports from the front lines were grim. The Nexari had taken 3 more colonies and destroyed several council ships. Their attacks were becoming more organized and strategic. Frank Miller entered the training center, accompanied by General Wright and representatives from the council. Mary called the troops to attention. At ease, General Wright said, "We've received new intelligence about the Nexari." The gathered soldiers gathered around as Wright activated a holographic display showing Nexari ships and troop movements. Their main fleet is gathering here. Wright pointed to a star system near the edge of council space. Intelligence suggests they're preparing for a major push toward core worlds. Why are they attacking? Asked one of the alien soldiers. What do they want? Frank stepped forward. From communications we intercepted, they see the council as weak. They evolved on a harsh world like Earth, but their society developed differently. They believe that their strength gives them the right to take whatever they want. Mary studied the tactical display. Their ships are fast, but they follow predictable attack patterns. Yes, Grell Thor agreed. And while they are physically strong, our combined training has shown that technique can overcome raw power. General Wright nodded, which is why we've developed Operation Earthborn. He expanded the holographic display to show a complex battle plan. The Nexari believe council species are too weak to fight them effectively. They don't know about humans yet, or our cooperation with council forces. We'll use that surprise to our advantage, Mary explained to her troops. Mixed teams of humans and council species will board key Nexari vessels. Meanwhile, our main fleet will engage their forces here at Dorvan 5. The goal is not to destroy them, Frank added, but to force them to negotiate. We believe they respect strength above all else. After the briefing, the troops returned to their training with renewed focus. Mary walked among them, feeling a mix of pride and concern. These soldiers, human and alien alike, were risking everything. Later that evening, Mary found Susan working late in the laboratory. "How are the new environmental suits coming along?" Mary asked. Susan looked up from her workstation. Better than expected. The council scientists had the technology all along. They just never had reason to make combat-oriented suits before. And the weapons modifications? Done, Susan replied. We've adjusted them for use with thicker gloves and stronger recoil absorption. Mary nodded, looking out the viewport at the stars. Do you think we can win this? Susan set down her tools. The Nexari might have physical abilities like ours, but they don't have what really makes humans special. Which is, we adapt, Susan said simply. Not just our bodies, but our thinking. On Earth, we learn to cooperate, to use tools, to combine different strengths. The Nexari seem to rely only on dominance and force. Mary smiled slightly. Let's hope you're right. Across the room, Grelthor was working with other alien officers, studying Nexari tactics. Nearby, human engineers adjusted equipment for their non-human colleagues. Look at that, Susan said, pointing to the mixed groups working together. A month ago, half the council thought we were too dangerous to join them. Now we're their best hope. Funny how things change, Mary replied. Outside, the stars shone steadily as Operation Earthborn prepared for launch. The next day would determine whether humans and council species could truly work together, and whether that cooperation would be enough to stop the Nexari threat. The battle raged around the Nexari homeworld. Operation Earthborn had succeeded beyond expectations. The combined human council fleet had pushed through Nexari defenses, surprising them with their coordinated tactics and unexpected strength. Colonel Mary Wilson stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the tactical display. Human soldiers fought alongside council troops on key Nexari vessels. Council ships protected human boarding parties. Years of mistrust had been set aside in the heat of battle. The Nexari commander is requesting communication, reported Grelthor, standing at the communication station. Mary exchanged glances with General Wright and Frank Miller. This was what they had been fighting for. A chance to end the conflict through negotiation rather than total war. Put them through, Wright ordered. The main screen filled with the image of the Nexari war leader. He was larger than the other Nexari they had encountered, with battle scars across his gray face. I am Supreme Commander Vex of the Nexari Dominion, he growled. Who leads this attack on our sovereign territory? General Wright stepped forward. I am General Alan Wright of Earth, representing the combined forces of the Galactic Council. The Nexari commander's four eyes widened slightly. Earth, we have never heard of your world. We're newcomers to the Council, Wright explained, but we share something in common with your people. We evolved on a high-gravity, high-radiation planet that would kill most Council species without protective gear. Vex leaned closer to the screen. You are like us, yet you fight for the weak ones. Frank Miller joined Wright. We chose cooperation over conquest. The Council has much to offer through peaceful exchange. We ask that you consider the same path. The Nexari was silent for a long moment. Your ships fight with unusual tactics. Your troops show strength equal to our own. This cooperation you speak of seems to have unexpected benefits. We can end this conflict now, Wright said. The Council is willing to establish diplomatic relations with the Nexari. No more colonies need to be destroyed. No more lives need to be lost. After tense negotiations, a ceasefire was agreed upon. The Nexari would withdraw from conquered territories in exchange for opening trade relations with the Council. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was a beginning. 3 months later, Frank Miller stood before the full Galactic Council. The emergency had passed, and now it was time to formalize Earth's position within the galactic community. Honored representatives, Frank began. Humans came to you as strangers, evolved from a world you would consider dangerous and extreme. Some feared us for our physical capabilities. Others doubted our intentions. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various council members. Commander Drek sat stiffly in his seat, but even he gave a small nod of acknowledgement. The Nexari crisis showed what can be accomplished when different species combine their strengths. Humans brought physical resilience and adaptability. Council species contributed technology, wisdom, and perspective. High Chancellor Vexnor rose from his seat. Frank Miller, the Council has voted unanimously to accept Earth as a full-member world, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. A cheer went up from the gathered representatives. Dr. Susan Garcia and Dr. Krelvon smiled at each other, their research partnership now formalized into a new division studying comparative biology. Furthermore, the Chancellor continued, we are establishing the Earth Adaptation Program. Human scientists and trainers will help interested Council species develop greater resilience and adaptability. In return, Council technology will help make Earth more comfortable for interstellar visitors. Later, at the celebration dinner, Captain John Baker found himself sitting next to Commander Drek. The tension between them had eased, but not completely disappeared. You still don't fully trust us, do you? John asked quietly. Drek considered his answer. Trust must be earned over time. But respect can be earned more quickly. You have mine. Across the room, Frank Miller raised a glass in toast with Chancellor Vexnor. To new beginnings, Frank said, and to the surprising strength that comes from unexpected places, the Chancellor added. Outside the windows of the Council station, ships from dozens of worlds moved peacefully through space. Among them was the first official Earth diplomatic vessel, bringing more human representatives to their new place in the galactic community. Humanity had arrived, not as conquerors or as subjects, but as equals, shaped by a world that had made them stronger than they ever realized.